It's a beautiful day on OGTV this morning, and of course, appearing on your screen with white green tells a lot about the spirit of Nigeria and the Niger spirit in me. So I say welcome to Roundtable, and that beautiful episode is here today, where we shall be dissecting and analyzing a very crucial topic today on the program. My name is Moreni Keji Shobaloju, but before I roll what we have to discuss today, let's go into the studio and take this short break, and I'll be back. Yes, in the past few weeks, the entire country has been soaked in the tension of the planned 10-day protest, a nationwide protest, where it's to begin on August 1st. And the planned protest, which was basically an expression, to a reaction of the current economic situation in the country, where, this agitation was quite driven on most of our social media platforms, where we have several hashtags coming on board talking about bad governance and all of that. And this is a way of people coming out to drive home their points, to call on governments to come to the aid, talking about the current economic situation in the country. But of course, this is looking at what protest is. How better can we find? It is a fundamental right to the citizen, talking about the system of democracy. This is protected by the Constitution. It is in the section 41, subsection 1 of the Nigerian Constitution as amended. And it's talking about the right, the fundamental right of the people to protest. But of course, do we think the government is not doing enough? What exactly is the missing point? Where is the missing link? How do we get here? Where do we get it all wrong? These are many questions begging for answers, although we know of a robust, policies and programs of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, talking about the recently removal of fuel subsidy, which was adjudged one of the best and beautiful economic policy that can be taken by any government. But of course, when you look at the shooting bomb that is expected to get to the people to, cushion the effect of this subsidy is where a lot of yearnings is, generating from. Conversation is ongoing about this. Well, these are things that we'll be looking at, and I'm not doing this all alone by myself in the studio. I have those, those that I think are resource persons, those that can talk about it. Then we'll look at it holistically, we'll dissect and analyze all these things and see what better way to provide solution. So I have with me in the studio Barrister Abiy White. Is a chairman of Ogun State Youth Assembly, and is also a legal practitioner. I want to welcome you to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Nice joining us on the conversation this morning.
Thank you.
And I also have to my side here, I have Chief Babatunde Delu. Initially said Chief, yes, there's a Chief. Chief Babatunde Delu is an economist and of course a public commentator. I want to welcome you to the studio this morning.
Good morning, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. And also joining us from far away, Cross River State, is Honorable Philip Obim. Honorable Philip Obim is joining us via Zoom, is the SA Special Advisor to the Cross River State Governor on Digital Economy. We are going to be looking at the topic this morning and look at, the better way to propose solution to what is it about protest? Is it the next thing? Is that what we're talking about? Yes, Honorable Philip Obim is also joining us in the conversation this morning. Yes, good morning, Obim, are you there? Okay, yes, let's just hit the ground running, and while we are waiting for my other guest from the Cross River State to join us in the conversation. Yes, let me just start by, looking at, the way it is, it should be a right for, citizens' action is a right when things are not all right, when things are not the way it should be. Talking about the situation, we look at the economic situation, look at hardship coming in different directions, the hunger in the land, we're talking about unemployment, we're talking about insecurity, and so much more to talk about. Then if it comes biting hard, it is the right of the people to come out and protest. Well, so now let's not look at it. At this time, the government is also coming out with different beautiful policies, robust one that would, also in a way leverage the situation. So how do you see this protest? It's a planned one, and it's very close now. We're looking at August 1st, and there's been a lot of noise about this. So what do you say, Barrister White? What's your take on this protest?
Yeah, thank you very much. I would say for a fact that the right to freedom of peaceful assembly is a fundamental human right. It's inherent in our laws. It is what must be respected. It is conferred on every Nigerian. So the right to protest, to make your views known, to give information, it is your right. It's our fundamental human right. It's our ways of us participating in democracy.
Of course.
Democracy is participatory. What makes it for the people, by the people, and for the people is the people are in the old system. When they criticize their government, when the government take feedback and work on it. Right? It is our right. It's basic. But laws are not in absolute form. To every law that you see out there, to every fundamental human right that you see out there are limitations to all these things. It means that where my own right stops, someone else's own is stepping out of there. There are limitations. Protest peacefully. Do not loot. Do not steal. Do not kill. Do not maim. Do not bring discomfort to the doorstep of others. Now the question is, how are we going to ensure that when everybody is out there, these things will not happen? Having set precedent before now, having seen our fellow friends, brothers, sisters, die on the road because they are demanding for what they think is right. If protests will bring about cut short of life and some people's destiny, let's not go near it. Let us take other measures. It is just so sad that we look up to youth in other parts of the world. We want to replicate things that they are doing. But in our own way, we are not keeping up with our own growth as for the world advancement on how to bring issues to the table with your leaders. dialogue, jaw to jaw, not word
Not
for
word
word.
to word.
The power in communication. The social media is here. We have been using it. It has been working out in one way or the other. It has been working out beautifully well. No government would like to be called out, especially when they are doing something that nobody is seeing. They want to take steps. Now, in our own climate, we are saying we are product of protest. I can tell you for a fact that this man here is a product of protest. I am too.
Okay.
I participated in over 10 or 15 nationwide. I've even led. I have. I can say it anywhere. I can Google. I can say it anywhere. Now the question is, have we gotten the result we needed from those outcry? Yes, we got some, but not the way we want it. Now, we are going to know that let us bring issues to the table. Let there be a dialogue. There's nothing stopping the Nigerian president to declare a day and say that all governors must meet their youth on that day. Nothing will happen. It will be obeyed. Let us push for engagement, dialogue. Sit this man down, sit me down. Let me tell you what we want. Rather than it's in the streets, doing protests, people will take it over.
You know, I want to just
My opinion.
let us understand one fact that there's apparently nothing we have been able to do successfully in this country when you talk about protest. It's just unfortunate that at a point it comes to the end of being hijacked by hoodlums and laying credence to NSAS 2020 protest, where it was initially staged peacefully. People were expecting that it's just about channeling our grievances to the government to understand what really the matter is. But at the end of the day, it got boomeranged to killing and maiming and all of that. Then again, look at people are quick, especially this part of the world, we are quick to look at what is obtainable in other countries. Like Kenya is one example lately that people have been talking about, that okay, Kenya had protests and all of that. But if you consider protesting as one fundamental right, is it not possible at the end of the day that we have a situation whereby the laws will outweigh the expected solution? When you look at what happened in Kenya, millions of property worth millions, wasted, the economy got grounded, and property damaged and all of that. How best and how better do you think, because you're talking about let's do Georgia, yes, it's a very good and valid point instead of war. Do you think there's one avenue that could ensure that we will not be going to, people will not come out and say protest is what is needed? What do you think is, that is much more powerful, that would also, tender and table what the problem is to government? We would expect something. We want government to come and give us this. Is there any way we can do this without going to the street, without protest? You never can tell, because we don't know what the objective of the protesters are. You never can tell. So what happens if this situation is hijacked?
No, thank you very much. Like, the reason why we are saying this protest should not happen is because we know that it could be hijacked. We have seen the political antecedent of things that have been shaping the public forum about this government and about things that are happening to us. We all are feeling this heat. It is not about anybody, it's about everybody. Now, what we are saying is, instead of us eating the streets and it's been hijacked, let us call a roundtable session. If you don't agree with us, let's start writing petitions. Let's start calling them out on social media. They would. It has worked. It is working. It will continue to work. And you will know that, look at, it will not be too good if you say that we are for Nigeria and we are doing things against Nigeria. Nigeria is that one body that brings us all together. We must protect this country. We must.
It's our country.
It's our country.
It is a spirit that we should also allow to guide us. Yes, before we go on this short break now, Delu, we're coming back to you. Yeah, we'll be looking at the economic aspect of all these things that we're talking about. So let's go on this short break, and I'll be back, to continue the conversation.
Cybercrime is a way of using telecommunications network to defraud innocent people. Avoid any form of cybercrime. If caught, you will face the law. Say no to fraud and fraudulent cyber interference in people's life. Report any form of cybercrime to the appropriate authority. Cybercrime is against the law. Avoid it.
Think about Africa. Think about Nigeria. Think about the rich cultural heritage, a land flowing with milk and honey, whose beauty is in her delicacies, unique fashion, with fertile land, full of mineral resources, with captivating landscape and human resources. Our norms, values, and traditions tell our stories, which evokes the African and Nigerian spirit of oneness and togetherness. I am proud of Africa.
I am proud of Nigeria.
We are proud of our rich cultural heritage.
Yes, thank you. Glad joining us again. Glad having you join us again on the conversation. And what we're looking at on the program today, it's Roundtable. We're looking at the planned nationwide protest. Is the protest the answer? Is that the way to go? Is it okay now? The government is trying as much as possible to put everything in place and ensure that that shooting bomb is created to at least ease the hardship. Yes, inflation is global. It is experienced anywhere in the world. But of course, you know, when it gets to a stage and people think, feels not, the anger is becoming biting harder, it is also a right and a fundamental one for citizens to, you know, come out with such action. Yes, we were talking before about what to be done. Yes, my guest in the studio, a legal practitioner, and of course, the chairman Youth Council in Ogun State, Barrister Habib White, said in his conversation that it is also better to come on a round table and have a discussion. Let the government, you know, be so accessible to the people. Let them engage the youth on a very robust conversation and the best way to go, so that the fear of hijacking this peaceful protest that is expected to be our constitutional right, you know, would be kind of factored, and people would know that the right thing to do. Yes, I want to come back to you. This protest is also engineered. It's driven largely on social media platforms where people were talking about, you know, basically the state of the economy. They're looking at the rate of unemployment, looking at insecurity, looking at, you know, every other thing that is related to the state of the economy. What, in your own perspective, how do you see the state of the economy of the country? If you want to be holistic about it, how do you look at it? And you know, people are even saying that the situation, the economic policy of the government is not getting down to the poorest of the poorest masses. And of course, they now say the situation is like the rich are getting richer while the poor are also getting poorer. You know, you want to look at this and analyze and let us know the best way that things can be done and, you know, to cushion or control the situation.
Okay. I think I start from the very foundation of how I perceive this proposed protest. Now, the basic foundation for me is a protest against the present administration. There's the hashtag going on end bad governance, you know, end hunger. If we say the government that is barely 1.5 years old in the saddle has not done enough, then we should look at it holistically. I was with a mentor of mine a few days ago. He's 61 now. And he said a particular song by one of the Apala minstrels, I think it's Yusuf Olatunji or Aina that came out over 60 years ago. That song was something about, had to do with the fact that the situation of the country was very bad, people were hungry, and the economy was bad. That's 60 years ago, just 2, 3 years or 4 years after independence. So, and I'm sure it's not peculiar to Nigeria. And especially since after COVID, the economic situation of the whole world has been in turmoil and is just trying to bounce back. So people must understand, and our young people, the youth, must understand this fact first and separate the fact from fiction and what it is from what they want it to be. Like, when this administration came into power, the first thing they did was to remove subsidy. And for a long time, we all knew that subsidy was a big albatross in the economy of the country, where it was a real wastage and a real leakage for us as a country. And the government did that, yet, yes, the price of petrol went up. The next thing they did was to fight the naira against the standard, that's against the dollar. And they did that, hoping that the two policies will begin to balance the economy. But our economy, if we are truthful about it, has been going down the drain for the past 10, 12 years. It's going to take some time before it can be rectified. And we have to understand that. There's no one single magic wand that you just say, abracadabra, and the economy will come back to shape. It takes time. Economy is a system. And a system that brings in so many different aspects, the microeconomic angle, the macroeconomic angle, and all the different components have to be addressed. And for a long time, in the past 10 years, we are seeing a government that actually doing things to correct the economy. Now, why those things work the way they plan it, or they don't work, because there are other factors that happen. There are other world external factors, not just factors that have to do with Nigeria, but the price of crude oil, for example, maybe a war in Ukraine. Those little things that you think do not matter actually have a long, high effect on our own economy here. So the youth have to understand this, and instead of targeting this particular government, what we need to do is, okay, ask for clarifications where they are, okay, and then see the projections of how the policies they have put in place will work over time, in the short term, medium term, and long term. So our people, all of us, need to be a little bit more patient with the government and give them time to put the economy back on track. It is very important. Maybe with that, if we have more understanding about that, they're able to relax and then, let the government do their work for a little bit more time before we even start reacting at all.
Well, Telu, thank you. But, there is something I wanted to get here. Lately, the inflation is, rising above the expectation. It's at almost 40%.
34%.
34 years, almost 40%. And the highest in the last 3 decades. And, this is really affecting, the purchasing power of the people. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. So this is one of these sensitive things that is biting out on the people. And this is why one of the many reasons Nigerians are coming out to say, we need this, we want to protest. But in your own way,
Can I come in?
Okay.
Will the protest bring down inflation?
Of course not. But
Will
then,
protest bring down the price of food in the market? No. Right?
of course, I know.
So that means there are other things that are affecting the inflation that needs to be addressed. Yes.
Why is this thing still not being addressed at the moment? Because if you look at it, this is, like I read, it says the worst in the last 3 decades. Like, we are having the inflation, the highest. So if you're looking at it this way, fine. It's something that you are projecting. You're looking at the better ways for government to actually, work and make things better. But of course, it's getting higher and higher. If you are saying people should not protest, I don't support protest too. I don't want
people
it.
should not protest. I'm convinced people have reasons to protest. Yes.
Of course.
One, like Barrister White said, we have to protest peacefully. We have to protest if we want to protest. But
But should
we need to
for
understand.
this conversation, should it get to the situation of protest before government understands that this
What I'm saying is exactly what I'm saying. Exactly what I'm saying is that the government is already reacting. The government has been reacting to the bad economy since day one. They have been reacting. Now there are things that have caused these issues. We have insecurity issues in the north, where the food basket of the country in Plateau State, Benue State. The people can't go to the farms to farm anymore to bring down the food. That's why the food price of food is going up. And this insecurity did not start today. It has been there for almost 12, 15 years. Yes, it's coming to a head and it's getting really bad because it has been there. The people, the Boko Haram and those factors, the bandits, kidnapping, they didn't start today. They didn't start with this administration. Now it has gotten worse. In sense, it's progressively getting worse. And it has affected the economy. So yes, the government is also battling the security so that food can be produced where food is being produced, and then the prices will go down, the supply of food items can increase, and then the price of food will go down. So it's going to take some time. Then you have to wait for another planting season, harvesting season. You understand? Maybe a year, maybe 1.5 years for those things to begin to work. Now, the government yesterday also, at this point yesterday, took off the duties on imported food items. It will for anybody that wants to import anything maybe from Europe, it could take 30 days for your ship to arrive. So you can't expect that the policy that they made yesterday will have an effect tomorrow. At the minimum, it will take 30, 60 days.
Of course, I know you have a lot to talk about.
Because it's just that we are too in a hurry to see the result of the
results, yes.
They're just too in a hurry. We don't want to give that patient period for us to see it materialize.
It is just that we are all human. We're looking at it from the perspective of the feelings, the emotional setting in. That is just the point. But you are still coming to tell me the way to go as an economist. We are yet to also, give government our opinion to talk about. That's why we have you around. That's why I cannot just sit in the studio and be talking about it. People like you will all come together, you dialogue, we dissect and analyze, the topical issues we have. But let me ask you, there's this burning questions around that the protest is kind of anchored or it's a move that is kind of anti-government, and it's something that is likely going to bring about, it's political. People are looking at it that maybe some people are sponsoring it. And what's your take on this? Because we are looking at, we should get it right.
Thank you.
People are thinking this is an idea of frustrating President Tinubu-led government, but let us get it right before it snowballs into a political matter.
Now, a proper analysis. Let us be all guided. Now, I want you to know that if you are looking for a responsive government, this administration has shown it. This is a fact. Look at this fact. People are calling for protests. They set out a date, August 1 to August 10. For the first time in our country, we are having the president talking about it, working on it, telling the governors, telling all the leaders, telling this, please don't allow this to happen. I'm already hearing what you are saying. The agreement is already ongoing. I'm in for more dialogue. He has set out all his aides to various states. The SSA on Youth Initiative will be in the this morning to meet some needs for engagement. We have achieved one thing. What we have achieved is we have somebody that's listening and don't want things to get out of hand. That is one. Secondly, if you are saying the protest is the way to go, revolution is the way to go, there's no problem. It is your opinion, no problem. One, do not force your opinion on others. And two, if you want it to be done, please be at the forefront of the movement. Please, if you know this is what you want, be at the forefront, lead it. Do not bring people, don't stay at home and say people should go outside, push them to it. Be there yourself. The law says that you have that right. And the law also states, by virtue of different interpretation, the latest one that we have in the country is even against Showore. It's 2022. The court said that every Nigerian has the right to peaceful assembly and movement. You can protect and do it. But if there is any way or an alter of blemish on the fact that it might be hijacked and everything, security agencies are ensured to provide adequate mechanism to either stop or ensure such things do not happen. And what has this government done? The IGP 3 or 4 days ago said, we're not saying you should not protest.
I was coming
But
to
please,
ask you about
if
that.
you are going to lead the protest, give us information as your name.
I was even going to ask
Where
you
you are
about how do you react to that question, because it's been on the front burner.
Yes, I'm coming there. That thing that was done by the IGP, I'm going to salute the police. No, I'm not a person that opposes government. But when you
Before you go ahead
let's
and
say,
praise police, let me tell you, at some quarters, people are believing that that statement is wrong. Just said people, it's been, translated to him telling people.
now
not to
let me
protest.
give you the opinion of the law as a lawyer. Let us be the comment about as of the, let us leave it out as a lawyer. That opinion is very right. The Court of Appeal has told us that security agencies are saddled with the responsibility of taking up measures that will not be harmful to the state when these things are going on.
Okay.
And what has the man said? He said, no problem. You want to protest? Please go to your nearest police station, pull down your name, your address, so that if anything happens, no, because we have seen protests that have been faceless. If it's a protest, let it be organized protest. We have seen where presidents of political leaders in this country that are in power now, where they have led protests, they were there, we saw them. We saw them, they were the one leading. They were never in America or in UK.
Our president has led several protests.
He was there, yes, he was there. We could see him. It was a face protest, well organized. But this one that is not faceless. No, do not. We've seen what this thing has cost Nigeria. Look at the only forensic analysis center we have in Nigeria was burned down by NSAS. This thing. It's a shame on us.
That's why I said.
The ownership is more on us.
Yeah.
And we are the one that will suffer it. That's the problem.
That's why I even said,
Okay.
If we are looking at, that was my first question, that if you're looking at a protest, have you been able to sort it out and analyze and look at, is our protest not going to outweigh,
It's already doing that.
we have this,
Okay,
we have
then
this,
wants to say something.
yes, we have this wrong notion of assuming that the way things are done everywhere applies to us here. I just mentioned the issue of insecurity, and there's too much political bitterness going on right now. And we know that if you can convince me, like I tell everybody, there are 3 conditions I need. That one, tell me this protest is not being sponsored. And I know, we have evidence. I've seen WhatsApp group, I've seen people talking and saying they will send money for people to go and protest and destroy things. And 2, convince me that the protest is not based on partisanship. And convince me that it is not a malevolent campaign against the present government. Nobody is going to do that. It is sponsored, it's a malevolent campaign, and it is obvious that if there are people behind this that just want to set fire to a flaming gas. If they protest in the UK, there was a protest in Leeds some days ago. There are no Boko Haram issues, there are no kidnapping issues.
But just
There's-
inflation.
Yes, and it's targeted, yes, it's specific. We are talking about inflation, we're talking about increase in price, and they go on. But here, the possibility, that is like having your house and you go in and you can smell gas. You can smell gas all over, cooking gas. If the first thing you do is just light a cigarette, that's the first thing you do. If you do that, the whole house goes up in flames. That is exactly what we are saying we should avoid. Right now, there are too many things that are, the tempers are too high.
Yes, the temper is, yes.
To let everybody calm down.
Tension is everywhere.
extremely high. And like Abib said, the president gave orders and told the governors, I don't know, but some days ago, last week Tuesday, 5-6 days ago, a group of young people, we can talk about it, and the governor of the state sat with them and
I was going to say that, we are sure that in our state, Governor Prince Dapo Abiodun is doing a whole lot to ensure that youth participation is paramount to him. I'm sure of that, because I know quite a number of youth in his cabinet, and he's also engaging youth. Recently, you were there, you led some group of youth in the states to talk about, burning issues. But of course, we can also rule out the fact that people would talk, people would say this is wrong, people will see things differently. Our opinions cannot be the same on every matter. So the thing is, some said it's political. like Delu said now, the planned protest, to an extent, some believe in some quarters that it is political. If it is, what do you think should be done? You are in a youth constituency, we're in Ogun State. This is our own state too. We should also think about the way to, because you are there, or you are the one that will be talking to your people. You have you represent a voice. So what do you think? If you think, fine, if you think it is not the economic hardship, it is not the hunger now, maybe sponsored, motivated, or it's political, what do you think should be done? What are you going to do?
Yes, if I happen to be in this situation, what I would just do, or what I would advise, is that I would not allow political sentiment or bias to take over my patriotism for my state or for the country. No, it is just a feeling of what it should be. And opposition or political mission should not be stated in that manner. It means that our politics is not with one of values, and it should not happen. So I will not even subscribe to that. Now, I'm going to tell you for a fact that in our state, I don't know of any other state, particularly in this state, we have taken our own protest off the streets. We have taken it to a roundtable dialogue. And the governor said, I am interested in talking to you. This first one, I've been to people to it. It is my instance. Now I want a larger one. He said, I want a larger one. I want to see everybody. You know, if I have a bad notion about the government before, that particular thing that I've seen that he has done that day, is a signal that, okay, maybe we are perceiving this wrongly. Maybe there's something that we don't know. Maybe we should give them a chance and then even address us. Let us see what they will say about it. Now you know if truly they are in charge or not. But in our own state, we have led that advocacy. I can tell you for a fact that it was Ogun State that led advocacy on the fact that youths should be engaged by their governors. We led it. And people are now adopting it. It's a gateway state. And it will happen. That is what we want. That is dialogue. If it's happening, it will be the first convergence of Ogun State youth with their governor in this country. It will be. And the first time in our state.
We cannot wait to see that. We cannot wait, actually, because you know, it's also a matter that concerns everyone. It is not about fighting every time. It's about solution.
That is it.
What is expected? What should be done? Yes, we should prefer solutions too. So we cannot wait, like you have said, hearing it from the horse's mouth means a lot. So we cannot wait to see that beautiful dialogue, that peaceful protest coming from the youth and having a dialogue with the state government. Of course, it's one thing to say we are angry, we are looking at the situation, the economy is bad, we want to react. It's another thing to think of the best channel, you know, to fashion our matter, to channel it to the appropriate quarters. Yes, it's so unfortunate that we are unable to join with who is supposed to join us from crossover, our other guests from the other end. But of course, what we have been able to talk about here this morning is something, and it will also pass a message across to our youth out there that this is not about a protest. It's our fundamental right to, but should be done peacefully. Let's come on a round table and let's engage our government. Let us talk about it peacefully. So I want to find out from you, Delu, before we just call it a day on the program today, what's your final take on the program, your last word for the people?
My question is, to be, or how is it to be? Is the protest to be, or how is the protest going to be if it eventually happens, if by spontaneity or anything it happens? If there are things that you cannot control the outcome, do not engage in it. If you start it, if you go out on Thursday the 1st or whichever day, and you cannot determine what the next person will do, you can only speak for yourself. You can't tell me what the other 100, 1,001 people that are behind you, around you, could do in the situation where you are all gathered. Then do not engage in it. So it's better we all do the part of dialogue, continue to talk with government, continue to listen to what government has to say, and also ask for timelines and results, and follow through what government is telling us and what their actions and policies are saying about the economy at every point in time.
Thank you. And the final word from you, Barrister White.
What I will tell everybody out there, all the youth out there, that if it is to be, it is up to us, whether good or bad. But I know that the love of our country should be what we should have at heart than everything. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's the word there. The love of your country should be paramount in your heart. Yes, I know the state, Ogun State, is a peaceful one, is a gateway to manifest, and we know our governor, Prince Dakmo Abiodun, is doing a whole lot to ensure that it remains peaceful and the peaceful atmosphere is created at every point in time. And I'm sure, it's a fundamental right, like I've said countless time on the program. People have the right to protest. People have the right to talk about and express their feelings on whatever they think it is not right. But of course, doing it peacefully means a lot. Channeling it appropriately means a lot, and I'm sure in our state, our governor is available to, like my guest has said here, is available to engage the youth, and is also doing his best to make sure that everything is done beautifully and life is meaningful to the people. And that's how far we'll be, taking us on the program today. Roundtable is a planned protest. We don't know the objective of, the protesters. We don't know what they stand to achieve. But of course, whatever it is, let us just tread carefully and be sure of peaceful protest. Thank you. Bye-bye.
The habit of testing or